Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to browse Nexus Mods without blurring all the adult content.
That's right. We might wince once or twice, but sometimes you just got to learn what's in the world, and that's a brisk way of doing it. Also, brief mention, we did see, this is straight up at the time of recording. Yeah, Marathon got delayed, but we'll probably report on that tomorrow. Just wanted to acknowledge it real quick.
Yeah, that's right. All right, it's a somber day for anybody that's ever quivered in terror at the sight of Macho Man, Randy Dragon, and Skyrim.
Yeah!
That's right. Robin Dark One Scott, founder and operator of modding hub Nexus Mods, announced yesterday that he is retiring from his role after nearly a quarter of a century.
The reasons offered by Scott are very understandable. Scott writes, quote, "The stress of the job has been a regular source of anxiety and stress-related health issues," end quote. And that he has, another quote here, "been burning out, and this started to have an impact on my staff and Nexus Mods as a whole."
Well, Nexus Mods, pretty good website, I will say, but gonna turn to shit now, right, Lawrence? Is that right? That's what enshittification.
That's the concern. The fact that it is good, I mean, people can have their varying issues with it, but it is a great standard and essentially the de facto hub of all modding on the internet. And I think it's done a very good job of maintaining that as a platform. It's I was just thinking the other day, it's crazy how I've been going back to this place for years, decades at this point. And yeah, just like everything else in this godforsaken world, there's a reason to believe, a precedent if nothing else, that new owners are going to drive this into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the website has a bandwidth cap unless you buy like the premium membership. I don't know how long they've had that. I feel like it's probably at least 5 years.
It's been a while now, yeah, a few years at least.
More on that in a minute. Now that's existed for a few years, and it actually didn't really affect the quality of Nexus Mods. I will say it was still a good website to use.
Yeah, I got the lifetime membership some years back. I think I was doing a lot of mod videos, and I was like, it's worth it, and it has been worth it ever since. And in the back of my mind, I immediately was like, oh God, they're going to cancel that or find some way to relegate it. Again, we'll get to that in a minute. We do have some information direct from Scott himself. After laying out his history with Nexus Mods and the ensuing toll that the project has taken on his health and well-being, Scott then promises that, quote, not a lot would change, quote, at least not from your side of things.
Scott acknowledges changes to company ownership that they, quote, aren't shouting about, but promises the new owners are about long-term stability, not changing the values or direction of the platform.
Same thing you hear every time something like this happens, right? There's another quote here. Nexus Mods is community first and mod author focused. That's not up for negotiation. Very presidential. I like it.
Okay. All right. Read my lips. No new negotiations. Scott then introduces a trio of new folks that will guide the website going forward. Fuladino, Victor Fulman, Rapsack, Marinus Elgard, and Toggin, or Nikolai.
The first reply to Scott's post, signed by the new ownership trio, offers a consoling Q&A, let's call it. Lots of very obvious concerns addressed right off the top.
That's good. Mods will stay free to download. Mods will belong to their creators. And free and lifetime premium accounts will not be affected, Lawrence. There you go.
For now. Yeah, that's great. Apart from that, they also promised that they won't change the core model of Nexus Mods, while at the same time acknowledging that monetization is hard and Nexus Mods is a complex platform.
Translation, they're going to raise prices. Oh, that's always, they would never have said it otherwise. They do a little more dancing around monetization concerns, saying that ads are, quote, a necessary trade-off to keep the site running, but our goal is to reduce them over time, not increase them. Okay, so you want me to translate for you? They're going to reduce the ads if you pay. So there you go.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe they won't cancel lifetime memberships, but I'm sure they'll invent new tiers and add-on things that you can buy your way out of. Okay, right, yeah. They're saying all the right words, at least the words that are easy to say and are, we want to hear right now. But why not actually name the company that is doing the acquiring?
Great question. Because despite saying all the right things in their introductory post, there is a little cause for concern there because people had to do a little digging.
Due to some quality internet sleuthing from Randomly Random 67 and Chocobalt over on the Reset Era forums, they were able to connect the usernames listed in the post to their real names, and then from there, some small shreds of data on the new owner's Nexus Mod profiles connected it all, Charlie at the corkboard, red strings all over the place, but they verified that the new owner is a company called Chosen.
Huh? Okay. The company itself doesn't seem very insidious. The website says, quote, we partner with founders to help scale what they built, amplifying their impact, supporting their team and culture, and ensuring the business thrives for the long term. Sounds a lot like Herman Hulst from yesterday's story, huh?
Yeah, it's a bit of execu speak for sure, and it's not going to stop there. A 7-month-old LinkedIn post from Victor Folman seems a little more concerning. The post lists multiple methods, tools, and just a do's and don'ts for monetizing a gaming startup.
Well, they might know. They've been working there for a little bit. Maybe if we give them a little benefit of the doubt. Folks get understandably antsy seeing someone talking about monetization taking the reins at Nexus Mods, obviously. But the graphic itself is mostly common sense information about what's already happening in the market.
Yeah, this is a LinkedIn post, and I feel like maybe some people aren't familiar with the temperature of what goes up on LinkedIn. It's mostly just a bunch of business executive speak from a bunch of founders and CEOs of one-employee businesses talking to each other about business stuff. It's weird. But the graphic itself, you can find reasons to be worried there, but like Bruce said, it's kind of common sense stuff, and it even kind of argues for a lot of the things I think players would probably espouse for themselves. For instance, the graphic advises that developers should, quote, always keep gameplay enjoyable and ensure that monetization doesn't hinder the user experience.
Okay, big thumbs up. Yeah.
Not so bad.
All right.
It's not, buy something and then drive it into the ground with monetization and leave a year later. So at least it doesn't say that.
Okay. For what it's worth, Holman assured a commenter concerned about NFTs and crypto that they would not be coming to Nexus Mods. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and that was on LinkedIn, so people are finding their way back there and leaving comments and stuff. But still, omitting the new owners from the announcement still feels like a weird, odd, maybe even shadowy move.
It really does. The new owners addressed that in their Q&A on Scott's original announcement. They write, quote, this post wasn't about Chosen. It was about Robin and the legacy he built over 24 years. We're the new owners and ultimate decision makers at Nexus Mods. We'll share more about ourselves when we've earned that right. For now, we're focused on listening, learning, and making modding even easier. And yes, you'll see us around in the community being active.
Okay, they addressed it-ish. Still a bit odd, but I can see where they're coming from. And now they're saying that, okay, now's the time for action and we will earn your trust. So that's probably the best thing you could hope to hear in this circumstance. There is another lingering issue aside from monetization concerns here. Some folks are also worried about the political guidance of the site moving forward because it's 2025 and everything has become politicized now.
Back in 2022, Nexus Mods banned a user that used a sock puppet account to upload a mod removing LGBTQ plus flags from Spider-Man Remaster.
Yes, that resulted in the usual follow-up cries of political censorship and persecution until, then Nexus Mods owner Robin Scott addressed the issue by publicly stating their moderation policy.
That's right. They said, quote, we are for inclusivity. We are for diversity. If we think someone is uploading a mod on our site with the intent to deliberately be against inclusivity and or diversity, then we will take action against it. The same goes for people attempting to troll other users with mods deliberately to cause a rise.
Yeah, basically concluded saying, I have the final say and this is the judgment I'm going to use. And I think a lot of people really appreciated laying it out there, but also, allowing for wiggle room where if you can tell something's off center, you're just like, no, just get out of here without needing to over explain to anyone.
So I can understand why everybody, including me and you, are gun shy about all this. Generally speaking, when a thing, like Discord's the perfect example of a company and or product that we first started using and loved. And everybody's like, whoa, Discord's the best. And now Discord in 2025 is just filled with pop-ups and quests and all this other dumb bullshit that I never want to see ever, and it is constantly happening. And I will say Discord is not charging, at least. There is that. They haven't started doing that yet, but that's just like 6 months away, in my opinion, for Discord. So Nexus Mods, I'm hoping, is a little more rooted in the community than Discord was. And then they can still not have to worry about the line go up, because clearly Nexus Mods is still doing okay, and when you pay for the premium membership, it pays for the extra bandwidth, so supposedly that pays for their servers if they need to serve more files or something like that. So I hope that's the way it goes. I hope Nexus Mods stays the way it is, and because I like what it is. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I've never had an issue with the website, and 20 plus years of using it. Yeah, if you get a premium membership, things download crazy fast. And I'm sympathetic to, bandwidth costs. I understand that that's an actual thing. So I don't know. Yeah, it's been a very fair and honest service that has provided a good cornerstone in gaming community for a long time here. Even if Chosen are the new owners, and even if they're saying all the right things now, and even if they do all the right things, there's still, my concern is that they'll just sell the company again to somebody who isn't so concerned, and then that company will sell it again to somebody who doesn't give a fuck. So that'll be the stair step down, even if Chosen tries to retain the site as is. You know, I can see a world where in 2 years this gets served up as a juicy LinkedIn post where some of the owners talk about flipping this company within the span of 2 years and earning, you know, 20 billion off of it. There's 2 million, however much it's going to be. It's not $20 billion website, but so I don't know. It's the only thing something stays pure is if like somebody that doesn't want to make all the money in the world, you know, helms it but does it in a sustainable way. It's a bit sad to hear, you know, the physical rigor the Dark One went through trying to maintain this thing. And to some degree, I even wonder, is one thing like this that scales up too high, is it too much for any one person? Is anything that gets big destined to be sold to a giant company, diced up and fed into the capitalism mulch machine? I don't know. I hope not. But luckily for now, maybe for the next year or two, things will stay the same. Will Nexus Mods be here and in the same situation when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out? That's a scary thing to think about.
Boy, that's a good question, because Elder Scrolls 6 is what, 2 years away, probably, at least?
Oh, I would say more than that, based on how Bethesda makes games these days.
Oh my gosh, geez. So yeah, and 2 years is a long time for a company that changes ownership to change a lot. So we will, you know, like I do have eternal hope for these sorts of places, and I really do hope that those other 3 founders, you know, maintain the same philosophy that Dark One was maintaining. But like Lawrence said, they really are going to have to scale up a little bit if it becomes like a problem for their mental health and their actual physical health. They have to hire people and do that sort of thing. Now, the weird part about that is when you start hiring people, it cuts into your profit. So you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with making less money as a company. And generally, when another company buys your little company, they are not okay with that. They are never okay with that. And in reality, then they're going to immediately start monetizing. But if they can, again, maintain that same philosophy, then there might be a few people that are like, whatever, we'll take a 10% pay cut to hire a couple more people. No big deal.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, time will tell on this one. But luckily, it seems like for the next year, things will hopefully go unchanged. I'll have to check back in with this whenever GTA 6 comes out on PC.
Jeez. That's another 2 years away.
But speaking of free video game content, Inside Games is yet again and always on your side. Here are some free video games to check out. These just hit Amazon Prime. Pretty good cuts here. You get Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered, Saints Row 2, Toem, and Star Wars Rebellion. All available if you have a Prime subscription redeemed through Good Old Games. Yeah,
good stuff. We'd also like to thank 2 very special patrons that support the Inside Games Patreon every single month. They're currently downloading every mod ever made. Alex Newkirch and Ryan Dareberry, you're going to need a bigger hard drive.